While a call for structural change to policing has been at the heart of many protests, demonstrators have also been shining a light on other forms of systemic racism, including wealth disparities, like the kind highlighted in a 2015 report from the Boston Federal Reserve that found while white residents in and around the city had built up a median net worth of roughly $247,000, black residents' net worth was just $8. Not $8,000, not $800, $8. It's among the problems the Black Economic Council of Massachusetts is calling on the corporate community to help address with the Greenwood Challenge. It's a name most of us know perversely because of Trump's scheduled rally in Tulsa later this week. And the wealthy black Greenwood community, sometimes called Black Wall Street, that was the site of a massacre in 1921 when a white mob killed as many as 300 people, destroyed more than 1,000 homes and businesses. The goal of the Greenwood Challenge is to raise $1 million to fund racial justice initiatives that will help black-owned businesses. I'm joined now by the council's executive director, Shagun Adowu, and Herbie Duvernay, CEO of the security consulting firm, the Windwalker Group, who kicked off this challenge with a $100,000 donation. Shagun and Herbie, thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks for having me.
Shagun, the last several months have been horrible for the vast majority of businesses in this country, particularly bad for black-owned businesses. How bad?
Well, we just saw a report from Bloomberg that showed that 41% of black-owned businesses have closed their doors as a result of COVID-19. And here in the Commonwealth, we did a survey back in March just to see what the impact was having on our businesses then. And it showed that 90% of our businesses were experiencing a somewhat severe impact, and over 60% only had reserves to last up to 90 days. And we're past that 90-day mark now.
So enter the Greenwood Challenge. I touched upon it, Herbie, but fill in a few blanks, fill in some details. What exactly is the goal of that $1 million you guys are hoping to raise?
I think one of the things that we need to know, Jim, is the fact that, we are angry. Many of us, rightfully so, have a lot of anger about what's going on in our country right now. And we feel that the business community needs to do something. Instead of keep talking about the issues of black not doing as well, we think something needs to be done. And that's the reason that I decided with BECMA to invest the money for BECMA to do the work that needs to be done.
And what is the work that needs to be done? What specifically would this $1 million go towards, Herbie?
One example is clear. For example, we know that just in the city of Boston, only 1% of the contract go to black and minority businesses. Yeah. So I believe that BECMA can play a pivotal role in leading the charge to make sure that one is we make sure that corporations are accountable. And also,
Shagun, I want to make. I'm sorry. Continue. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying also the corporation, also the city of Boston and the state. More needs to be done to make sure that agency, organization, and cities and corporations are accountable.
So, Shagun, I don't want people to have a misapprehension that the Paycheck Protection Program, which was much celebrated, solves some of these problems. You co-wrote an op-ed with a bunch of people, Bob Rivers, one of them was with me a few weeks ago, in which you not only talked about how shortchanged businesses owned by people of color were, but also proposed that there be a specific amount of the money in the next legislation set aside for minority-owned business enterprises. That hasn't been done in Washington, correct?
It has not yet, and you're absolutely right. That's why we were happy to co-write that op-ed, not just Bob Rivers, but Steve Grossman of ICIC, right. And Eddie Francisco from Amplify Latinx, to call for a specific set-aside of money for minority businesses, because we knew one thing, that the way the Paycheck Protection Program was set up this gold rush mentality, and it allowed people who already had their stuff together to get access. And our businesses needed a little bit more time in order to ensure they could access those funds.
I know nothing about business, so don't laugh at me when I say this. But when Herbie said what he said, it seems to me that's the issue, is using whatever money you're able to raise from this Greenwood Challenge to leverage money from the state and the city. We've seen the stories. They've done out of GBH and the Boston Globe, how an infinitesimally small percentage of state and city contracts are going to businesses owned by people of color. So, Shagun, that is a huge focus of this, right? Getting money out of that and creating some more balance, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, so to build on what Herbie said in his response, part of this is going to enhance our advocacy on behalf of Black-owned businesses, but we also want to ensure that we're developing a fund that's able to support our businesses, particularly those who have not been able to access the PPP money or other programs out there. The state hasn't yet stepped up to provide emergency capital, so we want to make sure that we're filling the gap so that 41% that's national for Black businesses that are closing doesn't double here alone in the state of Massachusetts.
Herbert, what kind of response are you getting to this from others? $100,000 from you is a ton of money. What kind of response are you getting to the challenge?
I think we got a lot of people talking about it. So I've seen a lot of leaders and business leaders that's contacted me and talking about it. They want to do something, but I think talk is cheap. We got to do more. So we need action. So we need a lot of those corporation organizations to step up and support that fund.
Shagun, I am generally not an optimistic person, but I have to say, after seeing a story in the Globe the other day about how we should put our money where our mouth is and go to Black-owned restaurants, I've done it. And, I waited too long to do it, to be candid, but I did it, and I was told by the people working there, actually, this has been a really good couple of days since those stories happened. And I say to myself, the critical issue, is this just a moment in time where the whole community says we care about the extra hurt that's been put on Black people on the economic front, on the public health front, obviously on the wrong end of a gun from a police person, or is this just going to disappear like everything else does because our attention span is as long as a gnat? Are you hopeful that we're seeing a sea change and there will be a focus on the kind of thing you two guys have been talking about?
Well, certainly or I'll speak for myself. We want to always remain hopeful, but share a little bit of that cynicism that this might just be another moment. I know certainly elders in my own community certainly share that cynicism and saying that we've seen this before and this will go away. Supporting Black anything, unfortunately, is usually a fad in American history. But what we hope, and again, with this challenge, we want to make sure that we're investing in the long term for our community when other communities aren't paying attention to us. So that's really the goal of this challenge, is to make sure that BECMA and other organizations are able to work together to help grow the prosperity of our business community for the long term.
Well, here's to an end to fads, gentlemen. Sagani Dowu and Herbie Duvernay, thanks so much for your work and your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks, Jim.
And if you want to find out more about the Greenwood Challenge, visit becma.org/donate.